Hello, and welcome to another Frazer tutorial. In this tutorial, we are going to be reviewing the steps involved in linking your Frazer system to Quickbooks and transferring your data to Quickbooks for the first time. It's important to remember that Frazer exporting only works with a full paid QuickBooks installation. You cannot export to a free or online version of QuickBooks. The first step is to make sure that the accounts that you use in Frazer have a corresponding account set up in QuickBooks. This needs to be set up on a one-to-one basis so that the information in the programs will match. Let's begin by printing a copy of the chart of accounts in Frazer. This is a list of all the accounts that you will need to make sure are created in QuickBooks. By clicking A for accounting and then number 3 for the chart of accounts, you can print this list if it will make things easier. Now, let's look at QuickBooks. We always recommend running a backup in both Frazer and QuickBooks before making any changes, so that if you need to restore back, you have the option. In QuickBooks, by clicking File, and then Backup Company, and then Create Local Backup. Save this backup where you know you have it if you need it. Now, let's go to the chart of accounts in QuickBooks. Let's maximize this screen so that we can see everything. And now, at the bottom, click Account, and then New to create a new account. Let's start by creating a new bank account, and then Continue. Starting at the top of the list of the chart of accounts that you printed in Frazer, add the account name, and then the account number, and then Save and New to move on to the next one. Working your way down the list of accounts from Frazer, add each and every account that Frazer uses to QuickBooks. Make sure that you add the asset accounts, the liabilities, equity, sales, cost of sales, and finally the expense accounts. Make sure that with your receivables and payables accounts that you select Other Current Asset and Other Current Liability respectively. Frazer Import will not work with the QuickBooks receivables and payables accounts. Once there is a corresponding QuickBooks account to all of the Frazer accounts, we can move on to the next step. Click File at the top of QuickBooks and then Utilities, and then Export, and then Lists to IIF files. To create an export of the new QuickBooks chart of accounts to Frazer. Name this Frazer Export.iif and make sure you save it to the main folder where your Frazer is installed, usually called Frazer 30. Remember that this step will have to be done anytime that you change any of the chart of account information in either Frazer or QuickBooks. Now, once your data has been exported successfully, let's switch back over to Frazer, and remember, run a backup before we change any valuable accounting information. For the next step, we will go to Accounting, and then number 5, Transfer Data to QuickBooks. Before creating a QuickBooks transfer file, we want to keep the link between Frazer and QuickBooks up to date. We will retrieve the chart of accounts file from QuickBooks that we created in the previous step and begin loading. Starting at the top, double-click each account and then select the matching QuickBooks account. And then work your way down the list, selecting each account. In order for Frazer to export data to QuickBooks, every single Frazer account must have a matching QuickBooks account. When you're finished with this step, X to close out, and it wouldn't hurt to back up again. Now, let's select our date range for the data that we are going to export. Remember that by selecting an ending or closing date, we will add a GL closing date to Frazer, and GL transactions will no longer be posted to dates before and including this date. Press Create QuickBooks Transfer File, and we're almost finished. Back in QuickBooks, Make sure you run another backup. And then click on File, Utilities, Import, IIF Files. Navigate to your main Frazer folder and locate the file frazerimport.iif and click Open. After importing, to see the data, look at the chart of accounts and select an account to see the balance. We could also run a report, such as a transaction detail for a specific date, and you should see that information as well. Note that all Frazer transactions are called Frazer Transfer or Transfer Frazer. And that completes the step-by-step in setting up and exporting your data to QuickBooks. As always, thank you for choosing Frazer.